Hello and welcome to the 1912 Exiles podcast, the Newport County podcast made by the fans for the fans. Sound the klaxon, it's time for an emergency pod. We thought this might be in the offing. I think in the last episode we said we would try and come together if a formal announcement was made about Newport County's head coach, and so it has transpired. So I am joined by, live from London, Mr. Jamie Harris. Hello, Jamie.
Hello. How we doing?
Yeah, all right. The plan is, listeners, we're going to do a really quick, gut reaction podcast now with the intention of coming back with the full panel in a few weeks' time. We're going to do a big season preview to talk about all the stuff that we've kind of skirted over. So we'll look into all this stuff in depth. But, clearly it's a big day for Newport County. Nelson Jardim confirmed as head coach after a little bit of back and forth over the last few weeks, which we'll probably come on to. And yeah, we thought that, like everyone, we would give our sort of initial thoughts and try and make a little bit of sense of it in this kind of, initial period, but there will be more to follow. So let's start with that, Jamie. What is your initial, completely subjective gut reaction to all of this?
I didn't see this one coming. Anybody who listened to last week's episode, myself and Ian, probably particularly clueless around these type of things. It's a funny one. Yeah, I mean, I expected the announcement to happen soon, as in I expected it this week, but I didn't expect it to be Mr. Nelson Jardim. We're going to have to ask him how he pronounces his name. It's a funny one. Lead coach to head coach. It's almost like there was a typo in the job description and they just updated it, and now it's the announcement. I think it's the right move. I kind of felt like, a lead coach, we weren't quite sure what his role should be. Exactly. It's not a thing at all. So, like I said, in the last episode, myself and Ian were trying to guess what he was going to be doing. Turns out he's going to be the head coach / manager / whatever, who in charge. He's going to be the man in charge of at least happenings on the pitch. And that kind of makes sense. Hard to say. I mean, look, obviously he's got his connections with Swansea. It feels like he came in to try and update or change our playing philosophy, our playing style, the way we approach games, the way our players can develop. And for all of the reaction and the relative unknownness, there's been a lot of positive stuff coming out of the camp, hasn't there? I mean, he's been in Newport for a couple of weeks now. I'm not sure how long, maybe 3 weeks. And already, since coming back from pre-season training, we've heard a few good things. People are excited. The players are excited to sort of get working with him and get a pre-season under their belts with him.
Although, let's be fair, you never hear a player say, I don't reckon much to this.
No, of course not. Of course not.
They're always buzzing to meet the lads and to the new gaffer has really sold them the club. All those cliches are exactly that. They're cliches.
But you know what? You have to go into. I mean, you have to go into it with an element of positivity, unless it's somebody who everybody knows about and everybody knows their style and what to expect from them. If you don't know much, you have to go into it with a sort of positive mindset, with an open mind, and say, look, this could be the start of something fantastic here. I don't want to sort of delve into whether he was the man anyway, and I think.
Oh, I want to delve into that.
Oh, let's delve into it then. Like the whole thing around the work permit or the settled status and stuff. I'm not sure I buy that. I don't think settled status matters whether you're a lead coach or a head coach. We just don't know, do we? We don't know whether this was always the intention or whether somebody else was in the line for the job and for whatever reason it fell through. I've never seen a press release worded like that before. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm with you. Clearly, we will all wish all the best for him. His success will be Newport County's success, and we all will be hoping that this is a good appointment. And we said a few weeks ago that it's likely to be someone who Jenkins knows from his time at Swansea. It probably won't be a name that is on our radar, but Mr. Jenkins will have decided who he wants, and he will pick his man. I do find it very hard to believe that this was plan A, though. I was looking at the chronology of it all. So we played our final league game of last season on the 27th of April. We then waited nearly 8 weeks until the 20th of June to sack Graham Coughlin. We then waited nearly another fortnight before Jardim was appointed initially to that role of lead coach. And then we waited another 2 weeks before we change our minds and say that, oh no, actually he's the head coach. So listen, if he turns out to be a good appointment, then great. And it's entirely possible that he wasn't the first choice, and we've ended up making the best of a bad situation. And that happens. We will all have been in workplaces where the person who you wanted to appoint can't happen for whatever reason. Things get in the way, and that's fine. That's part of life. We can be grown up about it. But I do hope that even if it isn't now, that at some point there is a little bit of transparency and reflection about what has happened over the last 3 months, because this couldn't have been what we were intending to do when the season finished on the 27th of April.
And, if you're if you were bringing him as lead coach, and the expectation was he would work alongside a head coach and perhaps work across all of the development stages, that was never going to be Graham Coughlin. So I don't think he was sort of in the pipeline, in the works, and then Coco just went, no, I'm not having this, and then that's when he left. I think all of that must have happened much earlier. Yeah, I mean, we're just guessing at this stage, but like I said, I hope I hope it works out. I hope this is, this is the first coach or manager that we've had not from the British Isles, so British or
the Argus is very keen to point out that Terry Butcher, of course, was born in Singapore, but yes, with that one caveat, you are absolutely right, Jamie.
Yeah, and we always remember, the Singaporean Terry Butcher, which was
with
bandages. Yeah. Always the case in very humid conditions. So yeah, I think it's the start of a new era. Like, we've not had this before. We've not, and we've seen how a new style or a new way of working can be quite a big change, and it will be a big change for all of those players. I'm not sure, how many might have worked in these sort of conditions before. Certainly on Newport anyway. So. Yeah, in spite of my lack of full understanding of his background, his skill set, I'm quite positive and excited. So, and that's the only way I can be.
I mean, and what are you basing that on? Like, what sort of football do you think he might bring? What are your expectations?
It feels like it's just going to be a complete step away from the sort of maybe more direct football that we're used to playing in the past. That maybe more just using your strength rather than your skills instead. So it's going to be a bit more passing. It's going to be a bit more intricate play, maybe a bit more movement off the ball. It's just going to be a bit more on the floor. I don't know. Who knows? What are you thinking, Ed?
Same as you. I mean, look, we're all guessing. Everyone is guessing at this point. I will get my first glance of this team and this style on Saturday at Barry. I didn't get to Undy on Saturday. I won't get to Ponty tonight, but I will see them at Barry on Saturday, and I'll be watching with interest to see how we set up, and we may even do some sort of match diary out of that. But yeah, I think it's hard to believe we would have got to this point and brought in someone who's going to play it up the channels and then ping it into the mixer for a big man. It doesn't feel as though that's where we're going. So I think we can expect it to be on the floor a little bit more and a bit more intricate passing. And that's fine as long as two things. That's fine as long as it works, and as long as if it doesn't work, we still find a way to evolve that strategy under someone else, and that we don't do the thing that Newport and indeed most clubs often do of saying, well, this hasn't worked, we must rip it up and go for the complete opposite. When we went from like Rowbury ball to cock ball, and now from cock ball to this, clubs have a habit of doing that, of just abandoning the philosophy of whoever has been in the job last. So,
but equally, Ed, not just abandoning the philosophy, but if it doesn't work, not just going, well, we're just going to stick with this same losing formula no matter what, because this is the way we play. This is the way we must play and approach things. Like, it's good to have that approach and it's good to have that mindset. But at the end of the day, we've got to, get enough points to stay in this division, stay in the Football League, or if we're looking further afield, we've got to get enough points to get out of the league. So you've got to be able to adapt, amend, tweak, evolve, whatever word you want to use.
I completely agree with that. I think the thing that is in my mind, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in the season preview, is we've got a lot of very young, inexperienced players on 2-year contracts. I would guess that the hope is that by the second season of their 2-year contracts, they will have developed a bit of skill and experience and knowledge and know-how to kind of kick on. This first year, I think, is going to be a little bit backs against the wall. And it brings me to my sort of final question to throw at you, which is, how involved do you think that Nelson Jardim has been in the transfers? And how involved do you think he will be over the rest of this window, given that at the moment we seem to have a little bit of a lack of experience, and we may need some wise old heads in there to do the thing that you were talking about of like, let's get some points on the board. I saw Chris Kerwin in the Argus saying, the first couple of months of the season are crucial to make sure that we get off to a decent start, because you don't want to start badly and for then people to be questioning the manager, the head coach and the philosophy, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of things to come out of what you've just said. Firstly, your point around, it's crucial to get a good start. I agree, but it's crucial to not put too much pressure on these young heads. They're learning perhaps an entirely new philosophy, perhaps an entirely new way of playing. And I wonder whether that is why we've gone for, these younger, 22, 25-year-olds on these 2-year deals, is maybe they're easier to mould, maybe they're easier to shape. You don't have a 30-year-old clogger sitting at the back who's set in his ways. He's like, well, I'll pass it out for the back. No chance. I think he has been involved, and this is what makes me think he was always going to be involved at the club in some way, because, again, me and Ian were discussing this last week. I can't fathom how you can have this is the way we want to approach games, this is the kind of recruitment we want to do, without the involvement of the person. Like, they've got to have buy-in, but it's so much harder to get buy-in with that person if he's just got to come in and go, I agree with this, or I don't agree with this, and tough, really. So I think he must have been involved. I think perhaps he wasn't originally going to be the head coach, but now he is. So that is what I'm getting out of it, and he must have been involved in the recruitment.
Yeah. Well, it's never dull, is it? There's never a dull moment as a county fan. And we can pick up on some of these issues in the next few weeks when we come together as a full pod team. There will be some bits and bobs that we will put out over the coming weeks. So I had a chat yesterday with the manager of Chepstow Town, who are going to be our club in focus. So we will feature that at some point. We might have something coming. Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, very pleased that Chepstow Town's been chosen. I'm a Chepstow boy myself, so I remember days gone by in my youth watching my dad play for them and just sitting in the clubhouse watching final score come in the 90s. So it's I'm really pleased that we.
Well, you heavily lobbied for this, so you've got your wish. So so we've got that. We'll have something possibly from Barry on Saturday. There will be some other bits and bobs. I would also say, listeners, that obviously we're sticking this out as an emergency podcast. There might have been some episodes that you've missed over recent weeks. If you get a chance, do listen to the last one, episode 186. Jamie and Ian do a kind of news round that was really good. And then I did a feature with County in the Community talking to their walking football team that was really lovely to do, and a really kind of heartwarming 10-15 minute segment. So give that a listen if you haven't already. But thank you, Jamie, for jumping onto this.
No problem.
We will be back soon with a full-length episode for you, details to follow. In the meantime, you know where to find us on all the usual channels, you know where to buy stickers and all the rest of it. So I will simply say, look after yourselves, look after each other, and above all, as always, keep it county.